Doing Kao the Kangaroo round 2. Hope you all enjoy our last run of the marathon.
Alright, I believe that I am live. So, hey everyone, I'm Rhythm. This is KO2. I am playing in Polish, as you may have noticed now. Uh, that's just because the Polish version is the fastest. And I'll talk a bit more about that in a bit, but let's just get going right away. So, 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so first thing, I'm playing as a kangaroo, so there we go, that's the animal quota already checked. That's good. You'll notice me rolling and jumping and doing this tail whip a lot. That's just the fastest form of movement, is to cancel out of the jump, or out of the roll, into a jump, and then the tail whip keeps me closer to the ground than if I was to just jump. So I get to return to the ground quicker and do another roll. And that jump I did there already skipped a cutscene. Which cutscenes aren't a big deal in this game because most of them are skippable anyway, but it's faster. And now I'm gonna be doing another skip where you're not supposed to be able to double jump out of water, but if I take a specific path and jump at the right time in the water cycle, the water is actually just low enough for me to sort of count as in air rather than in water, so I can double jump out. And now I'll be doing a river jump, which is a very precise, basically max length jump that I got on the first try because I am a legend. That's a lot harder than it looks. But yeah, here I'm doing another skip to skip opening that gate. And that one is only possible on the retail version of the game, which is what I'm playing on. Same as this. This was patched in the Steam release, but because I am playing on retail, basically the release version, that's why also it's in Polish, because it's the only language this version was released in. But yeah. So, as you can see, already starting out strong with a bunch of skips. Coming up is another one where I will skip starting up this watermill by just getting stuck in this corner and jumping out. And here a beaver wants my help, but I do not like beavers, so I will not be freeing him. I don't think I free any beavers during this run. Actually no, that's a lie, I free a couple. So it all works out in the end. Alright, so we're coming up to the worst part of level 1, which is the rodeo. There's 5 badgers here that I have to get into halls, and it is not fun. But I've got 2 already. This one seems to be setting up nicely. There we go. Oh, come on. Yeah, so this is what I mean when I say this part is awful and no one likes it. It has no friends. Okay, get in there. Last one, come on. Alright. So, you do that. One of the beavers talks to us in Polish. Because why wouldn't they? And we'll be moving on to the end of the first level. And onto the second one. Which I suppose is a good time, as good of a time as any to talk about the stuff I've been collecting. So, There's 3 main collectibles in the game. There's ducats, which are the coins that I'm getting now. There's crystals, and then there's stars. So, basically the sort of game's progression is there is a gate that is guarded by a pirate named the Bossman, and he will not let you through until you pay him 3,000 ducats. So that is sort of the main goal, is to get 3,000 ducats. Luckily for us, the game actually does give you 2,000 for free. Well, for free, for finishing levels. There will be a race level a bit later. That winning it gives you 1,000, and there's a volcano level which finishing it also gives you 1,000, which you will see why. But I do still have to collect 1,000 of them through normal gameplays. So, that sort of goes in the way of a lot of the skips that you can do, because obviously if you skip too much, you don't collect enough ducats to finish the game. So we don't want that to happen. But I believe I have it routed out decently well, so that I'll collect just enough. Here, I'll just jump on these ledges to avoid those tentacles. But yeah, so that's ducats. There's crystals, which are generally used for like mini games and stuff. They're not very useful in the run, or like at all really. And then there's stars, which you get from just like pickups like here, and from enemies. And getting those actually gives you power-ups. So we'll only be collecting 50 of them for the first power-up, which is the ability to glide. But there's a bunch more that you can get casually. And yeah. Funny thing about those gnomes is they have like 5 health, I believe. So normally you need to hit them 5 times with stuff. But if you do the 3-hit combo, the 3-hit melee combo, the 3rd hit of that always kills. So you can actually just time your combo so that the gnome walks into the 3rd hit and it will instantly die. So that's fun. Say hello to Dynamite Man. This is the only instance of this enemy appearing in the game. And say goodbye to Dynamite Man. He's gone. Alright, so here's more beavers that I do not really like. So I'm gonna taunt them by jumping on their cages. And then just go forward without freeing them. And then you can skip that entire sort of section of walking down and being chased by barrels. Like that, but because of that, this part of the level doesn't load. Or rather, it is, the collision is loaded, but the textures aren't. So, that was a bridge with holes in it that I just had to memorize. Where to jump. And get used to that, because a lot of the skips in this game cause this to happen. Just levels get partially unloaded. Or I should say the textures. In most cases the collision is all still there. So we'll be making our way over to here. I usually don't grab this checkpoint, but I will. Just for marathon safety and stuff. And I'll actually jump around the other side that you're supposed to go around that tree. And then miss everything. Good thing I got the checkpoint, huh? I don't know what happened with the camera there, but okay. Let's try that again. That's better. Alright. So, yeah. You're just supposed to go around the other side of that tree. It's not a huge skip, but it looks cool. And then as we come around here, I'm gonna try to get some of these bees, because they drop stars. I got 2, which is pretty good. And then I'll hit this loading trigger from outside of the trunk, root, branch, whatever you want to call that, like tunnel. And yeah, just go to the end. Remember to actually kill this gnome, because I tend to forget. Some gnomes have these fireflies, which act as keys, so they're kind of important to get if you want to go through doors. But yeah, that's the end of that. And we're moving on to the final level of the forest section. River Raid, which is very fun. You got introduced to piranha plants. Actually, that's a lie, they were introduced already. And the camera really likes to focus on that piranha plant, which I don't really appreciate, but you know what? I can deal with it. That's fine. So I'm gonna jump to this raft like so. It's just a tiny bit faster. And yeah, this whole level is basically this. Just swimming with the raft. So obviously that's a raft. So we're gonna stop at a couple checkpoints. And every time the raft wants to like stop at a checkpoint, it's gonna slow down. But actually by punching, you can for some reason make it accelerate again beyond what's supposed to be the cap when docking, so it's a little bit of speed tech. Now here's a failed damage boost because the camera decided to not cooperate. There we go. So that damage boost skips a bunch of platforming and lets me free the beaver early. I do actually have to free the beaver here because he will open up the gate for me to progress. And coming up is actually, speaking of beavers, the 2 most important ones. They're the fisherman and the fisherman's helper, and they're homosexual and they're boyfriends. And that is all you need to know about those. Alright, this is, I believe, the second to last checkpoint. That we still get off at, so we don't just leave the raft behind, I mean. So we're hopefully going to get there, get to the raft quick enough to actually swim on nothing as the water is filling up. That's pretty fun. I should probably grab that checkpoint, because, you know, marathon safety and stuff, but it's fine. I'm sure nothing can go wrong here. Gonna grab the sledge, then avoid this piranha plant. Grab the ceiling web as you do. Continue onwards. Okay, that's the last beaver. And then while I'm waiting for his slow self to get over to the gate, I'll grab a couple more ducats. And yeah, we're about to leave the raft behind. Get back to fun gameplay, where you actually do movement stuff. That's exciting. There we go. Raft is gone. Crab emoji. Who does that? Kao. Kao does that. Alright, we're coming up to the end of the level. Gonna grab a couple stars from the enemies that are on the way. And we're gonna come into our first boss fight, who is the shaman. This fight has basically 3 phases that are they're all very similar. So we're gonna wait out the lightning attacks, then stop the ground, hit the mirrors, which I'm actually doing some pretty specific movement to hit the first one earlier than you normally would be able to. And we're gonna hit him 3 times. Position yourself here and repeat. I believe most of the dubbings pronounce it as cow, which, if I remember correctly, it's the way the French dubbing people pronounce it at first, and everyone else just copied. But it's a kangaroo with boxing gloves. Like, it's KO. Come on, guys. Should be pretty obvious. Also, the developers said that like they pronounce it as KO, but cow is also fine. Alright, so that's the first boss. Alright, so we're out of the forest and we're gonna be moving into the snowland. Of course, by train, because how else? So, this is Igloo Village. Right away we have a skip, where I'm just gonna do a really long jump and make it over the river there, so I don't have to go all the way around on a slide. Then I'm gonna destroy this. Yep, move on. Get hit by that spider. You basically always get hit by that. It's kind of not really possible to avoid if you want to be fast. Okay, I'll skip like a whole puzzle over there with raising a platform by doing a strafe jump. Extended it with a boomerang throw, because as you may have noticed, when doing tail whips or boomerang throws, you can stall in the air for a bit longer than you normally would be able to. Here's like the first proper out of bounds, I guess. I'm gonna jump over this fence. I don't know why that roof has like sliding properties, but it does, and we're gonna use it to get up here. So here to the left of me is the void, which we do not want to touch. However, we will go on top of this tunnel to skip this extremely long, like, ear crawling sequence thing. Not really crawling, but you get what I mean. And I'm actually gonna jump here and boomerang to preserve some of the speed from that slide. And yeah, already at the end of this level. This section is a little weird with how it works or doesn't work, at least on this version of the game. You can just sometimes get collision deleted from under your feet and then you can't do anything. Sometimes your jumps like get stored and stuff, but I think I did pretty well at avoiding all of that. So we're on to Ice Cave. Starting out with a barrel section where the next set of spiders that drop down, you basically can't avoid damage from them. They'll always hit you once. You can avoid it, but I think it's frame perfect. Like frame perfect, position perfect, something. I don't know. It's really weird. And it rarely happens. I've never done it, but I've seen other people do it. And here is the next skip. This is called the Ice Cave skip because we are in the level Ice Cave and we're doing a skip. Very original. That skip's like a 40-second or so, just like catapult minigame where you have to kill a bunch of dudes and then a catapult shows up, like the one at the start of the last level. And then you shoot down a bunch of icicles to make platforms to cross that water. But yeah, again, just a extended jump with a boomerang throw is all that you need. Skipping murder is optimal, both in the game and in real life. Sometimes. Sometimes it's not, but you know. I think that's just in the game. Oh my god. That jump is the easy part of this section. There we go. Avoiding that spider is actually kind of tricky. There's gonna be another one coming up in a sliding section like this soon. That's also pretty hard to avoid. Because spiders usually like shoot pretty quickly and their projectiles actually home in on you. So it's like very tricky to actually avoid them. Here's the other one. Yeah, like I did mostly what you're supposed to do to avoid it and it still hit me. So I was like slightly off. But it's fine. So yeah, another big like ice skating section. A little skip here where you just go through this pillar because, you know, who puts collision anywhere? Why bother? And that is that level. And here is the most fun one out of all of them. The one I look forward to the most. Down the mountain. This is like a 2-3 minute auto-scroller, basically. With a RNG section at the end, which if the game decides it wants to kill you, it will. And you just lose a minute because sucks to be you, basically. So let's hope that doesn't happen. But yeah, auto-scrollers are both a blessing and a curse of this run. They're a curse because obviously speedruns, auto-scrollers, come on. Don't do me like this. But again, because of how many skips there are, and how many ducats we skip out on, these sections are actually some of the most ducats we get, like in a quick succession. And it helps out with the routing a lot. Oh heck yeah. Yeah, this is a really fun run, honestly. Like, I know I talk a lot of smack about it with like the auto-scrollers and the other not so consistent stuff, but it is a really fun run. And like, we haven't even gotten to the fun part yet. So, look forward to that. But yeah. Oh, that's a nice Ethan input there. Just didn't jump. What about the other KO games? Well, KO3 is okay, and KO4 is coming out in 2021. So, wishlist that. And that's all the other KO games that exist. It's really weird that they started with KO2. It's a shame that KO1 just doesn't exist, but oh well. So this is the RNG part I was talking about. Yep, this plow just throws icicles at you. And if it really wants to, it can hit you with like 5 of them in a row and then you die. And yeah, sucks to be you. Oh, just like that. Yep. Okay. I have managed to avoid dying horribly. Alright, on to Crystal Mines. I hope I hit this trigger. I did. Okay. I'm gonna ground pound here because that's a very long fall and ground pound is like 3 times faster or something. So this part is pretty fun because we get these minecarts that are going pretty fast. And if we jump out of a minecart that's going fast, we'll conserve that speed. So we can go kind of zooming for a bit. And I can skip killing that gnome by just double jumping and grabbing onto that ledge. And we get to continue. That is probably my favorite bit of movement in the run. Like that. Momentum preservation. It's really fun to do. Alright. Here's a weird little thing about this version of the game. For some reason, whenever you hit this button and this gate opens, you just kind of get locked out of movement for a little bit. I don't know why they did that, but they did. What's my stars at? I just clicked off the game instead of... Okay. That's good. Excuse the cursor. There we go. Alright, we didn't crash and burn horribly. That's good. I would talk about that, but I don't want to jinx myself, so maybe I'll mention it a bit later. But yeah, basically slides are monk-ass, and I got lucky and got to live, so that's good. And I got my 50 stars, which, as you can see here, I have 52. So soon a fairy will be telling me all about how I have unlocked my new ability.
Zebrałeś 50 gwiazdek.
Right on cue.
Udoskonaliłeś jedną ze swoich umiejętności. Teraz
So she never finished her dialogue there. And for some reason, that dialogue will like get stored and play like 5 levels from now. It's pretty good. But yeah, this is the second boss. This is the Conductor. Again, 3 phases. First we remove his goons, and then remove him as well. And that's phase 1. Do this 2 more times and we win. I guess an interesting thing about this version of the game is something with these nuts coming out of the cannon is weird. So that they can sort of just not despawn. And because there is a limit of how many projectiles you can fire at once, you can sometimes just surpass that limit with the nuts that don't despawn, and then you can't shoot. And that's not very fun. But luckily that didn't happen, and we're done with that level. And now we get to get lost in a hub, as you do, and get onto the race.
na miejsca. Gotowi? Start!
So, yeah, this is the first 1,000 ducat reward that we get for free after we finish this race, which is pretty easy, so it's just gonna take like 2 minutes, because of course we have to do 3 laps. You can also just sort of levitate off that boat, or like off the ledge in the boat, because, you know, video games. So fun thing to mention is there are these like flaming rings that open up shortcuts for me. And in the digital version, or like, you know, the Steam version, whatever you want to call it, you have to go through these loops every time to open the shortcuts each lap. In this version, they just stay open, so I don't have to do anything anymore. I just have to swim to the end. It's pretty great. Also, yeah, big cut jump. I'm also doing that weird boosting thing. That's just what happens when you press the nitro button when you have no nitro. And it is a tiny bit faster than swimming forward normally. Oh, that's good. That jump is weirdly difficult on retail. I don't know why, but yeah, it's weird. I didn't get the nitro because I tried to avoid the jump pad. Whoops. It's okay. Yeah, we are done here. And now with all the ducats from that collected, we're on to the water levels, which You might think like, oh great, water level in a platformer. Where have I heard this before? Haha. But no, these are actually really fun. And they are fun for one specific reason. And that would be this very nice rock right here that I do like a lot. So I'm actually gonna just give it a big ol' hug. Just really squeeze into it. Oh, okay. Guess I'm swimming to the end of the level now. So I am still gonna be swimming like along the level to hit loading triggers that thankfully extend like really far out of bounds. So you can just loosely follow the level. You can go to the end directly, but it's kind of hard and I don't know how to do it, so I won't. Only saves like a couple seconds over doing this, so it's no big deal. And from one water level to another.
Możesz strzelać tyle razy, ile zechcesz.
And can you guess what we like on this level? Breaking the camera apparently. But also that net. It's pretty helpful. So I'm just gonna be swimming into the void for the next like minute. So Franker Z in the chat? Perhaps he could donate to the zoo. That would be a pretty good thing to do, I think. I would enjoy if you did that. Yeah, I'm followed by a trail of torpedoes because I'm able to shoot them. So I've got the visual cue of that sort of stack of boxes disappearing. I'll go a bit lower, and soon enough, the last part of the level should magically appear in front of me. So I can just ease my way down into it. And yeah, finish the level. There we go. And we're on to the squid boss, sushi boss. So each tentacle here has 3 HP, which is very annoying because you can usually get like just 2 shots in and then you swim past it like that. There's also still a shot limit, same as last time, so, you know, it's just not the best part of the run. But it is okay, because we're already like a third of the way through this boss. Fun thing also, you can press the strafe button to considerably slow down how fast KO is swimming. But for some reason that makes KO also get hit by the tentacles on every frame when that button is held. So if you touch a tentacle while holding the button, you will just die instantly. So I'm gonna not do that. And instead just, you know, swim at normal speeds. You can also make the turtle vibrate violently by spamming the button. It's pretty funny. Missing. I am throwing Oh my goodness. Okay. Come on. Alright. And that was the sushi boss. We will be making it into sushi now. We're sort of throwing it into this big fan. Yep, okay. That's nice. So if you remember that thing I said about the fairy talking about the upgrade being stored, yeah, it's still stored. And I think she will talk like now? No, she didn't. Oh, there she was. Okay. And then she'll talk again as I enter this.
Świetnie. Na miejsca. Gotowi. Start.
Lovely.
Daliłeś jedną
Thank
ze
you.
swoich umiejętności.
Oh my goodness, please.
Teraz
Please.
skaczesz dalej.
Thank you. So here's a pelican section. You know, just in case you thought Peanut was cool from the start of the marathon. For being able to hold the hunter person. In that game, here you can just ride the bird, which is like infinitely cooler. And just like in the Pathless, there were limited amounts of flaps the bird could do. The same applies here. The pelican can only do 5 flaps before he gets tired and has to rest on the ground. So we'll need to keep that in mind when platforming. It's also quite a awkward mechanic to get used to. It trips up a lot of casual players, because you'd think that to get the max distance out of each flap, you'd want to delay them. But actually, once you flap for the first time, you will start losing height and speed from each successive flap. So you want to get them, like all 5 of them in as quickly as possible, one after the other. But yeah, there's a bit more to the pelicans, but that's later. This is the fun part of the run, and you're about to see why. Because here is Parrot Skip, where there's another pretty long section where you go downstream with a barrel, down the stream under me. But I don't want to do that, so instead I am going to come up over here, set myself up correctly, get up here, and obviously this hall has no textures because, you know, out of bounds and stuff. And I'll drop down here and oh god, the camera, oh please. The camera can sometimes go under you. I thought I had a decent setup for it to not do that, but marathon luck, huh? Let's try that again. Come up here, go out of bounds. Alrighty. That's better. That's what you like to see. So now we skip that, and you know what's better than a skip? How about 2 skips? So first here we're gonna dodge the trigger that activates this whole sequence of, you know, lava rising and you having to escape. And then there's multiple pelicans here. And how pelicans actually work is there's just an area trigger that teleports you to its pelican, which is usually fine because the pelican is right around that trigger. But what happens if I let the pelican fly up? And then I hit that same trigger that I use already. Well, I teleport all the way up, and not only that, but I get a super pelican which jumps twice as high and is twice as fast. And also I can control him here now, because why not? So that was the pelican upwarp. Probably one of the harder tricks, but also looks really cool. And you know, it's pretty good. But of course, that's not enough pelican shenanigans yet. They've got one more trick up their sleeve. And that will be coming up in like a minute. So here we're introduced to fish, in case someone else was hungry for sushi. Fish refresh the flaps of a pelican, so if I collect one, he'll bounce off it and then be able to flap 5 more times. And because of the weird jump I did to get to this platform, you saw that long jump, the next part of the level isn't really... the textures aren't very loaded. Oops. So, you know. Be sure to remember where the fish are, because you cannot see. And I will definitely take a second try. That is... that is pretty tricky, actually. Alright, so that was Blind Pelican, and as is the theme with this, these tropics levels, you get 2 tricks for the price of 1. So here is a checkpoint I'll avoid, then I will activate this sort of puzzle sequence, and then stand far enough away, in like a perfect position where most of the level is still loaded, but one specific section that comes up next after this puzzle isn't. And so there used to be a gate here, but it's one of the few things that actually get unloaded both textures and collision wise. So you can just go right through. And yeah, gonna get a couple more ducats. Glide my way around here. And we are almost at the end of this level, of course. Alright, so that was Treasure Island. And we're coming up to the last level of the tropics, which is the volcano. So conveniently enough, we don't actually have to enter the volcano, because that's pretty scary. I'm just gonna like go rock climbing for a bit. And then rather than getting into the volcano, I'm gonna get on top of it. Which, you know, is far better. So now there is a whole lot of, you know, unloaded goodness. And we've got a pretty particular setup. There we go. To load the next room. So I can actually see where I'm going somewhat. And then, luckily for me, this spring actually sticks out a tiny bit. And it's just enough to touch it from out of bounds and get back in. Just for this auto-scroller section, which will net me quite a few coins. So, the thing about this section is, even though it's really easy, I have not gotten a single checkpoint yet. So if I fail this, it's all the way back to the beginning of the level. So I do kind of want to focus a little bit. I'm gonna go to the left here and avoid this bumper, because bumpers are slow actually. A lot of them I take just for, you know, safety. It's easier to take the bumper than to avoid it. But that one in particular is super easy to avoid, so no reason not to take it. And I have this enemy, which, may I remind you, I still haven't seen a single checkpoint. And I'm fighting a person who is shooting at me with a gun over lava. It's not a good time. But we did it. We got a checkpoint. It's all good in the neighborhood. And we get to continue on with the level. I didn't grab the checkpoint because I don't need none of that. And I'm gonna be coming up to the end of the volcano. If you remember from the start of the run, I said the volcano is one of the two places that gives you 1,000 ducats. And I have 2,000 already, so that is the 3k I will need to get to the end game. So of course, after this level is a boss, as usual. But the funny thing is actually to unlock the endgame levels, there is no check for which levels you completed. You only need 3,000 ducats. And because this minigame actually gives you the money not at the end of the level, but as the level is finishing, I can just quit back to hub and never see the boss. So that's really convenient, because I actually never fought the boss and I wouldn't know what to do. So I'm just gonna quit out. And that will be enough, because I have the money. So I can give the boss man the money. And we go straight into Abandoned Town. And the first thing we do is our best Solid Snake impression. To actually sneak into the, I guess, like, facility proper. That was a small skip to basically get to the second level early. And I'm doing another big jump to get through here quicker. I still have not picked up a checkpoint. That's probably not the smartest play, but it's okay. Here is another skip. So, not supposed to be in this part of the level this early. That's why a lot of it is not loaded. But when has that ever stopped us in going through and finishing the game? So yeah, this whole section down here is not loaded. Luckily the enemy here actually is like the best visual cue of where to go. I did get that checkpoint, which is pretty good. I shouldn't need it, but it's good to get. And actually, this is supposed to be one of those, like, runaway sequences where the camera's in front of Kao. Oh, that's a new one. Okay. Good thing I got that checkpoint. Yeah, this is supposed to be one of those scripted sequences where the camera is in front of Kao, but because the trigger was not loaded, that just never happened. Okay. Alright, calm down. And this whole bridge is exploding because Hunter's galleon is supposed to be shooting at us. Hunter being the main villain of the game. And it's supposed to be right here at the end of this bridge, but it's just not because it was never loaded. So you'll just have to trust me that it was there, and we did enter it. We are in the ghost ship. Alright, that was interesting. Please grab the boomerangs, thank you. The hitboxes on these whatever bags of spike are like so massive, actually. I hate them a lot, but it's okay. We will get through regardless, I hope. And we'll fly around a bunch of this stuff just to, you know, speed up the platforming. Here you're normally supposed to push the button to sort of extend that bridge over the insta-kill spikes, but you know, risking like 2 minutes, okay, not 2 minutes, but like risking 30 seconds to glide over the insta-death spikes rather than taking half a second to push the button, totally worth it. Have to go for it. Especially in a marathon. Alright, coming up is the last skip of the run, which is the Parrot Skip. So the parrot who actually freed us from the cage at the very start of the game is now caged herself. And we're supposed to free her, but instead we can just jump on the cage and say, "See ya, loser." And now we're on to the final boss, Hunter himself. Yeah, we were not him. Hello? Oh, did they say parent? Or I guess maybe my accent made it sound like that. It's a parrot, like a bird. I don't know where Kao's parents are, but nowhere around. So that's the first phase of the fight done. Hunter successfully destroyed his own ship. And now he's gonna destroy this. I don't know what this is called in English. Like water bridge, I guess. Whatever. But we are faster than his bombs, so it's fine. And now is the sort of final showdown. Get ready on time. I just targeted the air balloon rather than Hunter himself. So time will be when the final boomerang hits him in the cutscene. So get ready and time.
Pokonałeś mnie!
Alright. Nice. I don't know what it was on stream, but according to my splits, that was a 59-36, which I will not sneeze at a sub 1 in a marathon. That's really nice. So yeah. Thank you for watching. Thank you for having me on this marathon. I had a lot of fun. It was for a good cause. You know, just like all the good things happen here right now. Yeah. So huge thank you to Bullets for like organizing all of this and having all these awesome runs. If you wanna get into KO speedrunning, we have a Discord. You know where to find it. Let's be honest, speedrun.com, look up Kao the Kangaroo. The Discord is linked right there. And yeah, that'll be all from me. So once again, thank you for watching. And yeah, bye bye.